Hello, dads and lads who aren't dads but are just glad to be listening to this fucking podcast. This is the I'm Your Daddy podcast, and how's it going? You know, last episode was a little bit different than what I normally record. Not really. I'm always fucking bitching about my feelings. It's fine. It's normal, okay? Everything's fine. I'm recording this literally right after that one, so, because I feel like it, and I want to try and start putting out more of this shit so the fuckers that actually, listen, have some shit to listen to. Because anytime I check on it, there's still people that come back and listen to the shit, even though I never fucking post it. And maybe it's new people who just go through and listen to the whole thing and they're just sad that there's nothing else. And maybe it's just like one guy who just really fucking likes the podcast, so he listens to it over and over and over. And if it is, what's up, dude? How you doing? I'm talking to you. Just, okay. I want to start with talking about just some literal shit that happened the other day. So, I was in the kitchen, just, whipping up some food and fucking in the zone, in my own space, and the way it is, I go from the kitchen and then around the living room into a hallway that goes back towards the bedroom. And I went that way and I noticed my 2-year-old was standing at our back door, just looking outside the back glass, And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. She's just looking out there. And I went into the bedroom or whatever for whatever reason and came back out. And I noticed she was sitting there scratching her ass. And I was like, get your hand out of your butt. And then just went back and started cooking again. And the food was done, 2 minutes after that. I think I was just making some fucking cheese quesadillas or some bullshit, And fucking looked at Ariel, and she had been reaching in her diaper, unbeknownst to me, and smearing her shit on the window. And in that moment, realizing that she was sitting there drawing pictures with her shit, I was like, what are you doing? And then she just looked at me like, is this a problem? And it's just, I couldn't even be that mad because it was just so fucking ridiculous. I was just like, okay, we have to fucking deal with this. Like, what is me being mad at this situation gonna do? There's still gonna be shit on the window if I'm mad or not. So I just went and cleaned her up, and that was a whole fucking ordeal because I guess she was digging in so aggressively. Like, this makes me sick just fucking thinking about it. It was like up in her nails and shit, and I just, it was definitely like, it was a shower to get all the shit off of her, and then a bath, and then, I had to go and clean up the most disgusting shit I've seen in a while. I don't want to say in my life because I've seen worse than that, but that was pretty bad. It was, oh goodness gracious, that they say stuff about each child, the first, second, and oldest, and then the middle child, and then the baby. It's just like there's tropes and there's sayings because it's normally true. Like, the middle child's fucking crazy, it's the wild one. The older child's more reserved and stuff, and the baby's the baby. It's the way it is. Like, Lucy, our youngest, I don't think she really knows her fucking name that well. because everybody just calls her baby. Like, all the kids are just like baby, or they might say, like her middle name. Like, and I don't, it's not a big fucking deal. She just, she's learning how to walk. She's good. She'll figure out her fucking name. Not that she doesn't know it, but it's like how when I will walk into the room and she'll see me, she'll go, Dada, and I'll go, baby, and she gets all happy, and it's like, maybe I should say her name, but also, she's the baby. Get off my fucking back. It's just crazy how they all grow different parts of each one, like mentally and physically grow at different speeds. Like, one child is able to walk faster, one child is able to talk faster, one kid's ready to fucking potty train, like saying certain words, identifying shapes, just shit like that. Like, I do notice that once one of them picks up on something, it makes it a lot easier for the other ones to pick up on it. So I guess, they just put it in child terms and they're like, oh, fucking click. Like, makes sense now. And I don't know, Leo, he's so fucking smart, man. Like, so I wish there was a video component to this, but I've been doing this thing with, like, just simple math with him, and it's, I've just been adding 1 to stuff, and I've did a couple 2s, but just anything I can do on my hands, because I'll just, fuck, if there was a video component, that would really help, but I'm not doing video because it's too much work. And just imagine I have one hand with one finger up and one hand with one other finger up, and I say, what's 1 plus 1, and I knock my hands together and making a fucking explosion sound, and then I hold up 2 fingers. If you can't picture that, then I can't fucking help you. Just a fucking lost cause. Because my son, who was 3 at the time of doing it, and like, well, fuck, is he 3 now? I don't know how old he is. I know how old he is, but I'm just blanking right now. He's 4. Gonna be 4. Yeah, gonna be 4. Fuck off. He figured it out. You can figure it out. But yeah, just doing that, he got up to 1 plus 5 is 6. And shit, I wasn't doing math at 3 years old. I was rubbing shit on windows like my daughter. I was the baby, so I got away with everything. Not really, but I just, they were more focused on my sister and what the fuck she was doing to care about what I was doing. So I was just like, oh, I can do whatever. And I did. But, man, the baby, she just kind of went from being a potato who didn't really move around that much to, because, she was a big baby. Like, she's always been the same size as her sister, who's a year older than her. And then she started crawling, and as soon as she started crawling, she was like, oh, I'm gonna figure this out, and almost immediately started pulling herself up on shit, and now she's standing and trying to walk, and it all happens so fast, and it's like their brain's just processing and watching, what everyone else is doing, and they're like, I can fucking figure that out. Except for as little babies, they have those, like, bowling ball feet and can't do shit with a round foot. I've been trying to just engage in more conversations out in the world. And by engage, I'm not going up to people and being completely fucking extroverted and being like, hey, how's your day going, fucking random stranger, but more so as if like someone does that to me, not kind of just disengaging as fast as humanly possible. And it's been nice, because you go as an introvert. I did do that for a long time, just fucking disconnected myself from conversation and didn't really talk to people I didn't already fucking talk to. But like the other day I was at the park and this random dude was there with his kid, and we started talking a little bit, and he was significantly older than me, so it was more of a conversation of like, oh, you don't know what's coming for you type thing. And while that is kind of annoying to hear from somebody who doesn't really know anything about you, it's also just kind of like, okay, like understanding that they have also had experiences that you don't know about. I mean, he was in the military and was, I don't know the fucking name of it, but like one of the guys that would jump out of airplanes and shit. And it's just, I ain't doing that shit. Like, you think I want that experience? No, thank you. And I don't know, just we talked, it wasn't very long, fucking 15, 20 minutes at the most, and then we both just went and fucking continued to be with our kids at the park, but it was, before, it would have been small talk, walk away, conversation over. But this time I was like, you know what? No, I'm actually going to fucking talk to this person like they're a fucking person. And I'm not just going to be like, oh, you're some NPC whose conversation isn't fucking important. And I mean, that's not necessarily how I looked at it, but that's just the easiest way to like put it into my fucking nerd brain terms. Speaking of nerd brain, I've been really like, I always liked comic books and I like superheroes and shit, but I never went out of my way to read any of this stuff. And then I started watching Comic Books Explained and Comic Storian and what is it? Mullet Man Comics or something like that. I don't know. I'll put all of the links to their channels in the description of this if I remember. But I was listening to comic books on YouTube. I was like, man, I really like this. Some of the artwork's really cool. And then I started going to fucking random stores, seeing comic books. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to buy some. So I've bought some. And then where I live, there's a couple comic book stores. So I went in there and I got some more. And I'm like, hey, I like this. So I've been collecting more comic books. Let's see, right now I have 9, and most of them are Batman, and like they're not expensive. I never realized how fucking just cheap comic books are. You can get them for like $5 and have them. They're yours. I went and if you don't know, there's a DC app that has all the comics on there, and you have to pay for it, but you can read fucking everything. And I basically did that already, but having the physical copies is just nice. I don't know, there's just something, I think it's just because I always read growing up. It was more fiction, fantasy, and then historical. It was more what I read. And so now I think, like, I still, like those things, but that's just kind of why I like having the physical copies, because it just kind of takes me back to sitting there, flipping the pages, actually reading the shit, instead of just swiping on my phone or what the fuck ever. And I feel like the more ways I can find to be disconnected from my phone is a good thing. I'm so tired of being connected to a piece of fucking technology all the time. And it's just so fucking important for the world we live in. We have to have our phones on us fucking 24/7. But it just feels nice to not have it for a while, If you've not done that, just next time you're off work, just turn it off. Fucking throw it in a shelf. Throw it fucking somewhere you ain't gonna look. Leave it off for 2 days. If you're off for 3 days, leave it off 3 days. And then, see how you feel. You're gonna be really fucking like, oh man, I should check my phone at first. And then eventually you feel better. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay. Well, something that's really been helpful for me is when if I'm like, oh hey, I'm gonna take the kids to the park, just leave my phone at the house. I don't really need my phone to go take the kids to the park. I can just go take the kids to the park, and when I'm done, I can come back. And yeah, it's just I've been feeling this need to disconnect, and I feel like a lot of that's also just kind of the feeling the need to go out in nature and fucking camp. But that's already, by the time this one comes out, I may have already done that and fucking scratched that itch. I talked about it a little bit in the previous one, but I do want to wrap this episode up talking about Taoism and Stoicism. I've made YouTube vlogs kind of talking about it, but I talked about it more as fuck it, like maybe you didn't watch that, and even if you did, you can go watch that, and I'm sure I'm gonna say something different now than I did then, even if it's the same tone. I'm gonna say it differently, so shut up and listen. But before you shut up and listen, I'm gonna pause it, and then, same thing. You're not gonna know anything happened. Philosophy has been helpful for me because it's just like, oh, this is some other random guy's advice on how he figured out on how to live a better life, and not some religion or viewpoint that says I have to do certain things to be a good life. Like, it's more just, okay, Taoism, the best way to explain it is to use an analogy. And I'll just tell you a story that I don't think I've told yet about just what happened to me and how it clicked into my brain with Taoism. So one day I went to go shoot basketball, right? And at this park, there is a small hill, there's a shitty court, and then a small hill to the right side of it that leads into a river that's, fucking going, doing what rivers do. And I shot the ball one time, and I made it, and a small kid walked up and was like, hey, can I shoot? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I passed him the ball, and he shot it once, and it fucking dinged off the rim and went straight into the river. And, you know, he was a nice enough kid, you know, he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, and was like, you know, made an effort to try and somehow save the ball. And I was like, don't worry about it, you know, it's not a big deal, it's a basketball at the end of the day, and I'm just gonna fucking follow it down the river and try and get it. And as I continued just walking down the river, it would get stuck on, you know, a branch or what the fuck ever. And I was like, well, I'm not going to just sit there and let it get stuck and that be the end of it. So I picked up some gravel and I threw a rock at it. And even if I missed, the waves from hitting close to it, if the rock was big enough, helped the ball move along. And it continued like that for fucking probably 20 minutes, you know, longer than that. I'd say the whole ordeal took probably 45, because I would walk a little bit and then it would get stuck, and then I'd get it unstuck, and then I'd walk a little bit, and probably for 3/4 of a mile or so that happened. And I just followed it and just kept on going. And then eventually it got to a point to where I was on the bank of the river. And I say river, it was more of a creek. But that's besides the point. If you don't live in the South, then you may not even call it a creek. What do you call a small flowing body of water where you live? I don't fucking know. We call it creek around here. But yeah, I finally reached a point to where I was able to just bend down and grab it. And Taoism talks a lot about like rivers flowing and water flowing, and how if there is something in its way, water doesn't try to do necessarily what I did and throw a rock at it and exert force. Water just continues to flow, and even if there's a fucking mountain in the way, the water will just continue to fucking flow right into the mountain until after, even if it takes 1,000 years of flowing into that fucking mountain, it'll create a hole into it and keep fucking flowing until it's all the way through. And in Taoism, the thing that you are following is the way. And it sounds really fucking crazy, honestly, because it's like, the way, what the fuck is the way? But that's kind of the point. The way is this unattainable thing that, as long as you practice acceptance and I don't know, to me it all boils down to not taking everything so seriously, not taking so much offense to things, just kind of understanding that everyone else is also just living their life. And yeah, just continuing to flow like the river. I don't know why I put on this accent, and I don't even know what the accent is, but we're gonna flow like the river. I've looked into Stoicism a lot too, and what kind of sucks is when you first look into Stoicism, it's a bunch of fucking like gym bros who are like, I'm a stoic, and then we'll just go and be an asshole, basically, when that's not what it's about. If you dig a little bit deeper, I might be able to find it and put it in the description, but there's a really good video that delves into Stoicism as a whole, like how they view everything, not just the outdated parts. But the part that resonated with me the most was about control. I'm getting a little tired now because it's fucking 2:30 in the morning, but I'm gonna wrap this shit up. Not right now, but we're getting there. I'm good. Are you good? I don't know, somebody might have fallen asleep already listening to this shit. But control. I can't force control upon anything. I can only control myself. Whether it's controlling if I eat another fucking slice of pizza, or controlling how I react to some asshole fucking cutting me off in traffic. I can't control that asshole did cut me off, but I can control how I react to it. And that's what glaringly stuck out to me in Stoicism. If you're somebody who's researched or looked into vaguely either of these topics, like Taoism, Stoicism, and you think something I said was wrong, or maybe you got a different message from it, fucking leave it in the comments. I'd be glad to fucking read it and talk about it, Did I cover everything I wanted to talk about? I think I did. This is going to be the second episode of my playing music at the end. So, yeah. Hope you guys like the more consistent episodes and like what I'm doing with them. If you do, leave a like. If you're not, subscribe. And bye.